Welcome back to Hurt Tell. Okay, a tradition unlike any other because we did it last year. Now we're doing it again this year. So now it's a tradition, maybe a
That's right.
habit. Depends on your point of view. Bryan O'Nolan's return, so we can talk about bad Christmas music. He's an educator. He is a writer at ordinary-times.com. He's a good friend of the program, although we haven't seen him since last Christmas. That's how popular that segment was. Bryan, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Yourself?
Good. The bionic man with the brand new hip. That's why he's sitting down right now.
That's right.
But we need you above the shoulders for this one. Maybe a little bit of your heart. We did this last year. I wanted to do it again, but though, boy howdy, I just did a Christmas trip. I was out of town. Everybody's playing Christmas music. My God, is there a lot of bad Christmas music of the last 10, 15 years?
There really, really is. And I was thinking, because we're talking bad Christmas music, but I want to defend a Christmas song here because a couple weeks ago, my younger son, he's 12, he comes home and he says, you know what the worst Christmas song is? And of course, I've got a catalog in my head. And I'm thinking, well, okay, he's got about a dozen he could pick from. What did he say? Keep in mind, we're talking about a seventh grader. What song did he pick?
I don't know. Grinch.
Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You. Now,
the kids are all right. He's got a point.
I had to take a moment and I said, you know what? I think I know what the problem is. And I don't think it's the song. I think it's partly the fact that it is, and check me here because you're a little bit more tuned into pop music than I am. I feel like it's the last or most recent entry into the Christmas music canon. That it's the most recent standard that has been released. And I was shocked when I looked it up. I looked it up because I wasn't sure what year it had been released. And I was guessing late 90s. Boy, was I wrong. 1994, this song was released. And it was a throwback at the time, which I didn't realize until this morning when I was thinking about it. It's really a throwback to sort of classic Motown. If you told me that, Ronnie Spector had recorded it in 1968, I believe you. But no, it's a Mariah Carey original. And I think it has become so ubiquitous. It's the first song you hear at the end of October in Target. And I think that it's so frequently heard that a lot of people are just annoyed by it. Whereas it's genuinely a really good song. It's just all positivity. It's a love song about Christmas. And what's not to like about that? I mean, I guess on the 500,000th hearing, it might get a little annoying. But so I just want to defend that one for a moment. Not that it's my favorite, but I think that, I looked it up. It's the 12th highest selling single of all time. And you don't get that high on the charts without being a decent song.
No, it's a throwback I think you're right. It was a throwback song at the time. The problem is it's been beaten over the head of everybody for the better part of the last 30 years. So that's why we're all sick of it. But you talked about the canon, though. It depends on your definition. That's probably by far the most commercially successful of the recent, I mean the last 30, 40 years, because we have the classical Christmas music, then you have the standards from, the 60s, 70s, 50s, White Christmas, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Of the modern era stuff of the last 40 years, it's clearly the most commercially successful, the most well-known. I don't think there's any debate about that.
No, it's not even close. Of Christmas, not even Christmas, sorry. Just songs. Singles. Yeah. The only other Christmas song in English that has sold more is White Christmas, and that's the greatest selling single of all time. I mean, they literally...
Which was an accident. We did that one last year.
Yeah.
The verse of White Christmas that we know was actually the original third verse, and it was like a 20-minute song.
Yeah. And it wasn't Bing Crosby's song at first. And he ended up actually having to re-record the master of that song because the original master was so worn out from so many pressings of the record that they had to go in and re-record it, which is just mind-boggling. It sold 50 million copies, and to Mariah Carey's only 18 for All I Want for Christmas Is You. And then there's another Christmas song that has sold 30 million copies, and I'd never even heard of it. It's a French song called Petit Papa Noel, and I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet, but it's also from the 40s. So, I mean, when we're talking about most recent entry to the canon, it's the best selling since White Christmas, at least in English. Christmas song. It's amazing. And yes, it's been beaten over our heads, but I think to some degree that's because there hasn't been anything anywhere close to it since.
Yeah. So I've pulled up a list. I don't think of this as a Christmas song because it came from the movie, but I get why they're adding it as a Christmas song. But Do You Want to Build a Snowman from Frozen is way up there on the list now as
Okay.
a selling single. I don't think of that as a Christmas song. I think of it as a winter song. I know I'm splitting hairs there, but okay.
But I mean,
I'll allow it. But I don't think that's a Christmas song.
No, it's not.
Sabotage, better known to most normal people. If you're into 80s metal, you know him as Sabotage. Most people know him as the Trans-Siberian Orchestra because that's their second act where they made a bad of money. Christmas Eve Sarajevo, that is, of course, the redoing of the Carol of the Bells, the orchestra metal version of it. Everybody loves that.
Yep.
That's next on the list I'm looking at. And then as far as modern stuff, Mistletoe by Justin Bieber, I'm not going to acknowledge that exists. Sorry, just not going to do it.
No.
Rocking Around the Christmas Tree, that's Brenda Lee. I put that in that new classics, the 50s, 60s, 70s. It came out in 58, so I'm going to move that one back. Where Are You Christmas, Faith Hill? Now, that came from the Grinch movie from, 15, 20 years ago now. That came out in 2000, which was 22 years ago. Sorry, folks. 22 years ago.
That's the Jim Carrey.
That's the Jim Carrey, Ron Howard Grinch movie.
Okay,
I'm good with that. That's a good song, by the way. That's good. That works. Jose Feliciano's Feliz Navidad from the 70s is on that list.
Yep, that's...
Any other version of that song is hot garbage, and I don't want to hear it, but his is fantastic. Crank that up every single time.
Yeah.
Jingle Bell Rock from 57, of course. That's become a classic. Then we get into the sticky one as far as the modern canon go because her fans are ridiculous, although I do like her as an artist. Wham busted out Last Christmas in 84, and then Taylor Swift covered it. And now you get into a modern and then an even more modern take. And I actually like the Taylor Swift version. I'm just going to admit it.
I will confess I'm not familiar with that version. I can't stand the original. There's a logic to the lyrics that just fails me. Last Christmas I gave you my heart. Okay, I get that metaphor. But the very next day you gave it away. So how did the recipient of my love give my love to somebody? At that point I'm done. I'm sorry. Am I being pedantic?
No, Hold that thought, because one of mine that I really dislike has a logic flaw in it as well, and I'm going to use that same string of logic. Here's your new one I'm going to add to the list, though. But Pentatonics, if you're not familiar with that, they're a vocal group. They got big on, I think, America's Got Talent or one of those shows. They're really good. They've been around for a while. They've got multiple Christmas songs, mostly covers, that have gone platinum. I'm looking at this list again. Here's one I really like. The Christmas Time Is Here. That's the Charlie Brown piano score, the Vince Guaraldi trio who did all that jazz music for the original Peanuts. Yep. God, there's no way. I was walking by a hotel front in a major American city last week on vacation in an undisclosed location. Just walking by and hearing it played, like it's like a friggin' warm blanket every time you hear it. I love that song so much. Everything on that Christmas special, by the way, but especially that is so good.
I mean, that's the one that everybody thinks of. If you told somebody that there were no other songs, they'd probably believe you. Most people, they hadn't seen it.
All right, let's get to it. Crappy, bad, horrible Christmas songs. Paul McCartney is a legend. He's an all-timer. He's in multiple Hall of Fames multiple times. But Wonderful Christmas Time is an all-timer of a bad song, Christmas and or otherwise.
Yeah.
It's the auditory equivalent to syphilis. It eats your brain, rots your soul, and you die embarrassed, and nobody wants to be anywhere near you.
Oh, it's a more...
Your thoughts?
It sounds to me like someone took Paul and said, "Hey, Sir Paul, you're one of the greatest songwriters of all time," and I'm not going to argue with that. They took him and they put him in a room and they gave him an hour and they said, "Write a Christmas song." He took 15 minutes. This is what we got, and he just walked out. I mean, it's very half-bottomed, if you will. It's the melody is. It's like he thought he could get away with a simple melody because it's a Christmas song. Whereas, yeah, there's a lot about Christmas that is simple and nostalgic, and the lyrics are nothing to write home about. But a lot of Christmas songs have, kind of banal sentimentality to them, and that's okay. We expect that. That's part of what this season is for people. But it's like he mailed it in, and ding dong, Paul. Paul, at least John didn't try to one-up you by also writing a terrible, terrible Christmas song. Oh, wait, he did.
Yeah, it was bad too, but Paul takes the cake on this one.
Oh, definitely.
Now, there's some real stinkers on the list. I'm pulling from Esquire's list of the worst Christmas songs of all time. There's multiple cover songs on here from people that are really, really talented. The Jackson Fives are on here for their cover of Kissing Santa Claus, you know.
Oh, yeah.
John Denver doing, and I'm going to just quote this because I still can't believe this really happened. But John Denver did Please Daddy Don't Get Drunk on Christmas. We got to mention that one. The Bon Jovi song, Backdoor Santa. I'm going to leave that one without any further comment. There's been some other ones. New Song did a song called The Christmas Shoes. This set back humanity and charitable giving probably 3 or 4 centuries minimum. This is the most god-awful drivel. I hate it so much.
Terrible.
It should just be blasted into space and beg the aliens to come blow our planet up. I hate this song so bad.
Yeah,
I heard it in a Ross while I was trying to do some upscale shopping the other day, and I just wanted to just go into a fit of rage.
I'm buying nothing. It is an objectively terrible song. It also has that country music thing where they try to pour it on really thick, and it gets poured on so thick that it just
thick. They poured the asphalt for I-95 thinner than this thing.
Oh yeah, and it's solidified crap. It's the worst possible combination of everything that it's the bad songs are bad because sometimes it's a bad performance. Sometimes it's, Please Daddy Don't Get Drunk on Christmas, or having, little Michael Jackson singing I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus, and it's just a little weird. But sometimes it's also because people analyze Christmas songs and they think, okay, what makes a good Christmas song? Well, you want home, you want love, you want giving, you want charity, you want some sentimentality, you want some sweetness, and people will even take a little bit of extra sweetness and then they dump it all on top, and it's just too much. It's too much. There's a balance that the real stinkers don't get.
All right. Here's one I'm going to get hate mail for, but I don't care. Mary Did You Know is a god-awful Christmas song. We were talking about the logic the other day. It's like, Mary, did you know? God sent an angel to explain it to her. I'm pretty sure when the Almighty sends an angel specifically to you by name to explain something to you that's getting ready to happen, you not only know, I'm pretty sure it didn't slip her mind afterwards. So yes, I hate this song. I know people like it. I know there's religious connotations. I'm all about faith at Christmas. I hate this song so much. I want to rip out my ears every time I hear it. It's, did you know? Did you? No. So we're going to make her infantile and stupid and incomprehensible and act like she didn't understand something. Just to reiterate, that a freaking angel told her.
Not just any angel. Gabriel himself coming down.
So it's our thesis that Gabriel is a bad communicator. Is that the theory here?
He explicitly needed her to say, sure, go ahead, let's do this. It's like she had time to think about it. She pondered it in her heart and then forgot completely. Yes. I mean, I think it is, if you can get every denomination of Christianity to agree on one thing as far as doctrine goes, and that's that, Mary knew, and you're going to write a song based not on that, it's hot garbage.
So bad. And I'm just going to say this. I think the newer Christmas songs, the more religious they try to get, it's almost like the worse they get. At least if it's a pop song, you can go, well, I'm tired of it because it's a pop song and it's an earworm and it just drives me nuts, like Mariah Carey. It's like trying to write a new hymn. It's like the hymns are classics for a reason. I'm not against you writing a new one, but you're not going to write another classic hymn.
Well, the standard is pretty high, isn't it? I mean, we about earlier, 2 Christmas songs have collectively sold 68 million copies. Like that's incredible. And those 2 songs are ubiquitous. And you come at the king, you better not miss. Well, some people miss pretty spectacularly, and
That's 2 songs in 2,000 some odd years of having Christmas, though, and about 400 or 500 years in its current modern form as we know it in variations.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Your window of winning here is really small.
Oh, absolutely. Not only is it small, but you've got absolute classics that people can hum and just off the top of their head, and you've got a whole collection of songs, this canon that, and now everybody's got a different date. Some people are okay with hearing the music starting, right after Thanksgiving. Some people are right after Halloween. My family, we split the difference and go November 15th. It's one of my kids' birthdays. But you've got this whole collection of music that everybody just saves for this time of year. I don't want to hear it in July. I don't want to hear it in March. This time of year, these are the songs we want to hear. And if you want to add to that, it's got to be something pretty special.
See, I'm one of these Thanksgiving guys. Like, I don't want to hear a word about Christmas until after Thanksgiving dinner. Now, as soon as dinner's done, let's go crazy. Let's decorate everything. Let's crank the music up. We turn it on. But I don't want to hear a peep about Christmas till Thanksgiving's over.
And I, even though I'm a different date person, I totally respect that. And I think it's part of the specialness of this season is that we take all these things that we love and we say 11 months out of the year ish, we don't want to have them because it's just not appropriate. And then this time hits, whether you call it the Christmas season or you call it, Advent or whatever you call it, this time happens and it's special, and it's so special that we only want to have it now. And then we put it away in a couple of weeks from now, actually.
Bryan O'Nolan. All right. Give me your favorite Christmas song. I see the Christmas tree back there when the O'Nolan clan gathers around and you limp over to your chair as head of the household with your new medical marvel hip.
A lot less
limping. What's the number 1 Christmas song in the O'Nolan house?
Well, there are 4 of us. You're going to get 4 different answers. For me, I have to say O Come Emmanuel, because I'm a traditionalist. And that one is one of the very few actually legit Advent songs. It's not about, hey, Christmas is here. It's Christmas is coming. We don't have a ton of those. And I love the fact that it goes back hundreds and hundreds of years. The lyrics to that are very old and in Latin. The original, and don't ask me to quote them. I don't speak a word of it. But that's got to be my go-to. If I only get one, that's the one I'll take. How about you?
There's a tradition in our family. My mom's family gets together on Christmas Eve in the home place. My one cousin, who is a supremely talented singer, sings "O Holy Night" a cappella. That one always is a special one because that's a long running tradition now. Cousin Kim sings "O Holy Night" a cappella after everybody's been singing carols for a good while. It's ridiculous. That's one of those songs, though. It's like how it's presented is everything.
Yes.
As far as me just enjoying a Christmas song, I talked about the Charlie Brown stuff. I know that sounds silly. That little jazz riff of Christmas time is here. Look, I love White Christmas. I love the hymns, Silent Night, all that stuff. I even like Taylor Swift singing, Give My Heart Away to Get It Back because, FedEx was closed or whatever. Just that little jazz. I'm telling you the truth. I was walking down the streets. I was in Chicago. I'm walking down the street and a hotel is playing it at the car check station. And I literally just kind of stopped and smiled and I couldn't help it. Like there's something about that Charlie Brown Christmas, any of that little jazzy, Guardi Trio stuff, but that particular song done that way with just that real mellow offbeat riff and the piano. And I think about the piano at home growing up and sitting around the tree. That just hits me every single time. And I know that's probably not on a lot of people's high list for Christmas songs, but it's on me. And it just happened to me again. Just randomly, I hear that and I'm just like no matter what I'm doing, what I'm thinking, I'm just like, Christmas.
Yeah.
And Christmas is so commercialized now. There's very few things that are Christmassy that will do that anymore. but that does it every time.
And I think what you're talking about there is like, yes, for you, it's that riff. But I think everybody, just about everybody, has some...
All the good people,
has some little moment in a song that reminds them of childhood, safety, when things were good, and that sort of rose-colored glasses view of the past that we often have. And so that's a musical cue for you, but we've all got them. If I hear a decent version, especially if it's a sort of Gregorian chant style version of "O Come, Come Emmanuel," I am picturing my house when I was a kid. It's dark. I can see the Christmas tree. I can see specific ornaments that are on the tree. There's snow outside the windows, because there's always snow outside the windows at Christmas time in the past. It brings you back, and it doesn't, everybody's got their own little cue, but when it hits you, and can't miss it.
I completely agree. Bryan O'Nolan, we're going to have you back. We'll do the good Christmas songs here as we get closer to Christmas. You write at Ordinary Times. Let folks know where they can know and follow you, my friend, because you're a brilliant writer. You do sarcasm better than just about anybody I know. Let folks know where they can follow you and keep track of you.
Yep. Not only am I at ordinary-times.com, you can find me there, but I'm also on Twitter at Bryan O'Nolan, Bryan with a Y. And I try to keep it clean, but I'm not always successful.
Well, until you sent Mike Pence to the gathering of the Juggalos, but that's another story for another day. Which you need to go read, by the way. Fantastic stuff. Bryan O'Nolan, appreciate you, my friend. Thank you.
Great. Merry Christmas, everybody.
And Merry Christmas. Thank you, sir. All the music on Heard Tell is provided under a Creative Content license from monstercat.com.